So yesterday, I uploaded a YouTube video titled Ned Fulmer has officially hit rock bottom. And in this video, yes, I explore the fact that Ned Fulmer came back to social media and has gone down absolutely atrociously. Most people agree that yes, this man has not learned, he's not changed, and if anything, over the last month, he's exposed himself further and further for just in general getting worse. This podcast, new show, whatever you want to call it, overall, it's not very good. It's very awkward, and a lot of it is just Ned Fulmer making a lot of excuses for himself. And what we kind of concluded is yes, this is rock bottom for Ned Fulmer. The first episode of his new show got 1.2 million views, and the latest episode got, well, less than 2,000 views. But it's not just social media rock bottom for Ned Fulmer, it just seems overall where this guy is at in his life right now, it's honestly as miserable as it could possibly get. So you might be thinking, well, why are we here right now only a day after I've uploaded that YouTube video? Well, the reason is Ned Fulmer actually recently responded. Yes, I'm sure this is gonna go down well. Because yes, on his brand new channel, which is quite clearly a channel that is copying the Try Guys in my opinion, he responded to the Backlash. And if you're thinking to yourself, wow, is this going to be an apology for Ned Fulmer due to his conduct on his podcast recently, or possibly just in general for, you know, everything that transpired over the last 3 years? No, it's not that. If anything, it's the opposite. Because this video is basically 9 minutes straight of Ned Fulmer basically stating that you, yes, you, the viewer who's probably consumed every single fact in this situation and story, are in the wrong. He is in the right, and you don't understand this situation because you don't watch his podcasts. You don't consume the empire of Ned Fulmer anymore, and therefore you just don't get the context of everything that's took place. Which is weird because I've just done an entire video reviewing his entire podcast where I go through basically every single clip of his new podcast. So if anyone's got the brain to understand what's going on in this situation, it's probably me. Because yeah, I am the sad guy that sits on the internet and talks about these things for a living. I have done a 3-hour video where I've documented the lives, truths, and everything that went down in this situation and timeline. So yeah, I think I have a good understanding when it comes to the context of everything in this story. I think I know the ins and outs, which is, you know, publicly available to us right now. And overall, I don't think I'm lost on the context of everything that's available to us. And despite all of that, I've watched this response from Ned multiple times now, and what I can say to you is, well, it's not good. It's manipulative, it's shallow, and overall, once again, it represents that this man just refuses to take any accountability. But if anything, he is getting worse. In this response, he uses his wife's trauma as a way to make everyone feel bad and excuse himself for his actions, and overall it gives me the vibe of somebody that is just trying to manipulate everyone using PR and buzzwords to try and escape accountability. And look, the thing is I'm not the accountability police. I'm not here to say that I don't think Ned Fulmer can make videos and I think he has to run away from social media. No, I think he's perfectly entitled to make this podcast. Yes, I think it's weird and I think it is odd that the first 3 episodes were centered around infidelity, given, well, you know, it's Ned Fulmer, the guy literally known for cheating on his wife. Yes, I think that's weird, but I do think that Ned Fulmer has the right to make this podcast. But I think we, the internet and the audience, have the right to also state that this is weird, this is odd, and I think Ned needs to accept the fact that, well, he is going to be mocked on the internet due to the sheer irony of some of the topics that he speaks about on this podcast, but also down to the fact that, well, this guy has not changed. It's very, very obvious, especially in this new response. And yeah, now you've had the introduction, I think it's pretty obvious what we're going to be doing today. We're going to sit through this response and review every single thing that Ned Fulmer has to say from start to finish. So yes, we can get all of the context in, as once again, we have another influencer sat in their kitchen with a 4K lens looking very, very serious. You know, I do miss the era of where influencers used to sit on their kitchen floor crying in front of a webcam. I feel like that was a much more, it's just a better era. There's something about Trisha Paytas crying on a kitchen. You know, Trisha's got a lot of issues, but I feel like this, it's just much more enjoyable than what I'm seeing with this. But before we dive into today's topic, I just want to speak to you about today's sponsor, and that is Aura. Now, if you've been around on this channel for quite a long time now, you will know that me and Aura go hand in hand, and that's because we've worked together multiple times, and that all comes down to the fact that I trust Aura completely. I'd recommend them to a family member, a friend, and in fact, that's kind of why I actually want to work with Aura, because, you know, with my family friends, I want to keep them safe, and sometimes, you know, you'll Google a family member or a friend, and you'll discover that there is an alarming amount of personal information out there readily available, and this information is very sensitive and could be used for malicious purposes. I'm talking phone numbers, past addresses, details you would never expect to be public, and it's just in general really unsettling to realize that basically anyone can access this. And well, that's where Aura comes into things. Because you see, Aura is an all-in-one digital security solution that helps protect your personal information. Yes, Aura is going to keep you safe. For example, their powerful data broker opt-out tool removes your data from people's search sites and data brokers, places that sell your information to scammers, identity thieves, and more. But Aura doesn't just stop there, because they also provide identity theft protection by monitoring your personal data, like your social security number, across billions of data points, including the dark web and public records. And if anything suspicious comes up, Aura will alert you straight away. But my friends, it doesn't end there. Because every single adult on your account, up to 5 adults I should say, get up to $1 million in identity theft insurance, with a total of up to $5 million in coverage to help with eligible losses and fees. But then the wonderful deal doesn't even end there, because Aura also includes a VPN, antivirus protection, a password manager, and 24/7 US-based customer support, all bundled into one affordable package. It's basically just a security empire in the palm of your hands. And I know that I'm not leaving myself and my family exposed to data breaches, and you should not either. Head to aura.com/inabber to try Aura for free for 2 weeks, and that is plenty of time to see if any of your personal data has already been compromised. Stay safe online with Aura, and I've worked with them multiple times. I trust them, I use Aura, and yeah, it's a great product, and I highly recommend it. And yes, big thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video. And with that, let's get into Ned Fulmer addressing the backlash. And Ned starts off this video by letting us know that, well, he understands that there are a lot of issues right now, and he understands that there are a lot of things that he needs to address, in particular some concerns that the audience has. And yeah, he gets straight into it.
Hello. I've heard a lot of the commentary and reactions to my podcast episode with Ariel, and I wanted to take this video to address some of them.
I love that he says with Ariel, like every single episode that he's ever uploaded isn't just getting lambasted in the comment section. Like seriously, just go to any episode he's uploaded. This man is getting cooked for everything he says in any one of these episodes. But yes, Ned's here to address the issues, and with that, I want to play a little game of bingo. Because yes, you know what it is. These responses are absolute garbage, and what I could say to you, this is going to be PR drivel to the absolute max. And as somebody that's been in the YouTube scene for a very long time, been making commentary videos for a very long time, I can guess really easily what these type of responses are going to say, and that's why I've got a bingo card for you and me, for you and me to play with. As you can see, yes, here's my well-designed, graphically engineered, I can't speak English, bingo card, and you could get any of these things in my opinion. Make sure to circle them if you do. For example, he could mention cancelling in this video. He might say that we, the audience, don't understand him. Will he blame the viewers? Will he say things we're taking out of context? Or maybe he'll try and make things seem much deeper than they actually are. Or maybe he'll use Ariel as a defense. He could blame TikTok. He might put that groany fake deep voice on again that he's loved to use in most of these types of videos. And who knows, maybe he'll ask people to subscribe at the ending. There's a lot of things that could be said in this podcast, and I feel like this bingo card very much covers most of the main things that I kind of predict he's going to get into. But yes, actually getting into things, Ned starts to speak about the response to the original episode that he uploaded with his wife Ariel Fulmer that obviously went down absolutely terrible with the internet.
That episode with Ariel was mostly about her story, and now in this video, I'll tell a little bit more of mine. There's a lot that we wanted to keep private, but some things I'll touch on today.
Is it controversial to say that I don't really think that I need the story of the guy that cheated on his wife in this situation? Like, the main reason I was interested in the episode that he uploaded with Ariel was, well, Ariel is the victim in this situation. I want to hear, the words from her mouth, the words from her brain. I don't want to particularly hear the words from the man that actually did the terrible thing in this situation, because obviously he's going to be trying to do everything he can to win back his audience and win back his career that he lost at the consequence of his own actions. Like, I understand what Ned is saying here. I understand that he wants to tell his story, but at the end of the day, I really don't think that there is that much to say. Because at the end of the day, cheating isn't exactly this big, deep thing that needs psychological analysis. It's cheating. If you cheat on someone, you're a bellend. If you cheat on someone, you're incredibly selfish. But honestly, out of all the topics on YouTube, I don't really think it needs big, deep analysis into it to explain why Ned did the things that he did, because it's so simple to understand. You were a selfish father, a low-life deadbeat father who betrayed your wife, your friends, your co-workers, and your children, and that's basically that. I don't need 9 minutes of analysis, but I can tell you now, you're about to get 9 minutes of Ned pretty much over-deeping absolutely everything. And hey, I guess that's a bingo, because as I said, yes, he's going to try and make things seem much deeper than they actually are. Now, obviously, I have watched this response by Ned. I've scripted everything here, but I am also giving another reaction here. And I know that Ned is going to over-deep everything in this podcast as a way to pretty much manipulate the audience into thinking that this whole cheating thing was actually somehow a bit of a good thing. And the reason that I know he's going to do that is obviously I've watched this podcast, but it's something that he also does in his new show, Rock Bottom with Ned Fulmer. When I went through every single episode in my last video, something that me and the audience discovered was that in every single episode, Ned did this thing of where he would mention that, oh, I'm now doing this really good thing that I wasn't doing before. An example of that is he stated that he's now practicing gratitude after everything.
Even on the Love Hotel, I didn't even realize it, but it was the 1 year anniversary of my DUI. And I took a selfie of myself, because I took a selfie of myself the night of the crash. And to see where I had been the year before and to be in the place that I am now, I'm just incredibly blessed and grateful.
That sense of gratitude, I think, is something that, like, I think I hardly ever practiced that before,
Now, this is an extremely weird thing to say, in my opinion, and I pointed this out in my last video, but I think I need to show it again to give an example of Ned doing this in the past, because basically what he's doing here is he's trying to manipulate the audience into thinking that, yes, his cheating scandal is actually this positive, life-changing lesson that helped him become a better person. He's trying to make things deeper and more psychological to kind of make the audience feel that they need to accept his journey. Because whenever you hear someone say, I'm on a journey to become a better person, naturally the inclination of a regular human being that has empathy is to say, wow, congratulations, I'm going to support you on this journey. And I think that's what he is doing here, despite what he is saying is actually quite absurd. He's 38 years old and he is now only practicing gratitude. And it's something that he will continuously do throughout this 9-minute video, of where he will basically say, I'm now doing this completely normal thing that every human being does from the age of 0 years old at 38, and that's why you should forgive me. Now, obviously, he doesn't word for word say that, but it's manipulation. It's not going to be, on the nose directly saying it to you. He's trying to make you feel bad for him, so don't fall for it. I mean, even in the podcast where he's speaking about practicing gratitude for the first time, the person he's interviewing says that, well, they just practice that by instantly thinking it.
Yeah.
Very self-centered and very negative, and just that mind shift towards just writing down 12 things you're grateful for every single night.
Oh, do you do that?
I do, yeah.
Okay. I just think it through my head.
I mean, even the person he sat down with thinks he's being insane here by being like, well, I just do that with my brain. It's just a normal thing. The fact that Ned has to write down reminders to be grateful for things, in my opinion, shows that this guy is a little bit strange. Having to remind yourself to be grateful, I don't know. It's a weird thing to say in response to you cheating on your wife. But with that, let's continue with Ned addressing everything, where he goes into the reasons of why he actually did what he did. Again, just over-deeping things to make you feel bad and to make you think that this is a far more complex issue than it actually is.
First, I know that it was a very painful and uncomfortable conversation to watch. I know for some of you, it reopened things. For us, it felt like a necessary step to be able to move forward.
Bingo! He's bringing Ariel into it, in my opinion, by stating that, well, it allows us to move forward. He's using her as his defensive shield here by making you think that Ariel is also a part of this. Now, maybe that is true to some extent. Maybe Ariel is giving her blessing on the side. I'd be confused if he was lying about that in a video, so I don't really doubt what he's saying here. But I think it does just show this man's desperation. At every single point of this video, he uses Ariel Fulmer as pretty much his shield to get away from criticism of, oh, me and Ariel are doing this, me and Ariel have agreed on this, me and Ariel this, me and Ariel that. But it was never me and Ariel when you two were married. And that's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting that he wants to bring Ariel into everything. Now he is desperate to revive his career. Whereas for the last 2 years, this man's been silent, never saying anything about Ariel publicly and caring about her and telling people maybe not to speculate on the things going on with Ariel and trying to protect his ex-wife in this situation. But the moment he wants to actually say, no, I am here for Ariel, it's when he's saying, here's my new product, here's my new show, here's my new copy of the Try Guys YouTube channel, please consume it because it makes me feel good and it also helps Ariel. Honestly, I don't really know how this helps Ariel, to be honest with you, considering this podcast gets around 1,000 views an episode. It's not exactly bringing in any of the big bucks. It's probably losing money considering you have to pay for studios, editors, cameras, and all of that stuff. So realistically, I can actually only see this being a burden on Ariel's life. You're once again bringing her into the limelight by making this because you're desperate to have your career back, and if anything, surely that's only going to make Ariel's life even more stressful. And the hilarious thing about this is he acts like he's trying to move on from the situation and learn and grow from the situation, but even in his comeback, look at the description to his new show. It brags about being the 6th best rock bottom moment of 2022. This guy is telling us that he cares about Ariel and is using Ariel as his shield in this situation, but he's also bragging about the fact that he ruined her life, ruined his kid's life for a time, basically changed the trajectory of their life forever, and also the same for his co-workers and best friends. Yet we're meant to think that this guy actually cares, even though he brags about that as a form of advertisement for his new show about him cheating on his wife. I'm sorry, but this is all absolutely insane. As I said earlier, I think the guy has a right to come back to social media. I don't think he's necessarily broke any laws, but I think we're in the right to think this is weird and creepy and just odd. But yeah, moving forward with his response, he basically continues to state that this new career path was agreed upon between him and Ariel, once again using Ariel as his shield.
We knew we would always get these sort of questions in any context online, and it felt like the only way to move forward was just to face it head on. As has been reported in interviews, launching the podcast with a conversation with Ariel was Ariel's idea. She's a stakeholder in the Rock Bottom podcast and this new channel.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's how I'm necessarily about to say it, but it does actually feel... It feels like she is financially invested in her ex-husband's public downfall. She's invested in this, man. This podcast is getting 2,000 views an episode. Do you not understand how funny that is? I don't think she needs to do this. I don't necessarily think she needs the money for this, but she is, to me, I watched that first episode. I saw a woman who who clearly has a lot of resentment for Ned Fulmer, and understandably so. To see the fact that she is invested in this podcast is hilarious, especially knowing that this clip exists.
I don't know. I see myself more as like a host. What?
No, I don't know. I'm just. You think you're interesting enough?
No.
I mean, maybe it's a slip of the tongue, but but how can you see that and think that, yes, this woman wants to win back money in her financial investment in the Ned Fulmer podcast? Because to be honest, it really, really doesn't seem like it, but it is hilarious to see that he's still using her as a form of shield against the criticism. But yeah, let's continue where Ned goes on to blame other people for the criticism.
She wants it to be successful. So that was part of the reason why, in terms of having that conversation, we did it together rather than on any other platform. We knew it would draw a lot of attention, and I know that some of you have only seen 15-second clips of me putting my foot in my mouth, but I hope for those that watch the full hour that you took something away from it. You know, any clip that you see on TikTok is just one small snippet of an hour-long conversation of 3 years.
Oh, look, it's bingo o'clock. Because, yep, the blaming TikTok is right there. And also, I think there is the, fake croaky deep voice that he's doing. And this never really happens in any other video other than the ones where he's apologizing to people or trying to look good. So yeah, 2 bingos. But also, let's talk about what Ned is saying here. Is he necessarily in the wrong about things being taken out of context on TikTok? I mean, I don't think he's wrong. I think there is cases on social media of where clips do get cut out of podcasts to make people look a lot worse than they actually are, and to make things look in a misrepresented manner, but I don't think that's what's been happening to Ned Fulmer over the last 2 months. And this is what I kind of mean when it comes to the PR talk that Ned likes to put into this response, of where he's saying things that obviously is going to trigger emotions in your brain. When you say, oh, TikTok bad, taken out of context, naturally, a lot of people out there that don't really have the time in the day to do the research on what Ned actually said or what is going viral about Ned, they're going to just take what Ned and believe it, to be honest with you, because yeah, they don't have the time to research these things. And Ned knows that. Ned knows if he says to you, yes, TikTok bad, believe me, I'm a victim of cancel culture. Okay, he doesn't necessarily say that, but it's kind of what I'm getting here. He knows it's going to invoke emotion, especially in an era where we are all very concerned about cancel culture. But the reality is this whole situation is simple, Ned. You cheated on your wife and you're just struggling to deal with people not liking you for that. Well, actually, no. I feel like he wouldn't be struggling to deal with it if his show was doing well. I think it's more likely Ned is struggling to deal with the fact that, well, he's not making tens of thousands of dollars every single month anymore, and his show is a complete and utter failure. Literally every single comment on every episode of the show is completely negative, and the show has gone from 1 million views to getting 73 likes per episode. Oh, it's sad, isn't it? It is honestly a complete and utter failure, and this is why I think he's doing all of this. The man does not want to accept failure. But moving on, Ned then starts to get into the process of what happened after he was exposed for violating his wife, co-workers, and children's trust. And yeah, I understand that sounds mean, but it's exactly what he did.
After discovery, I started an intensive program of therapy, group therapy, and work to really try to understand what I had done, why I had done it, and what it meant for my relationship and my life.
What it meant for your relationship is your relationship's in the mud, you've been divorced, you've lost everything, your career's in the mud, you're getting 2,000 views a video. You're getting less views than my second channel. And I don't like to flex views, but that is incredibly funny. But also, bingo, we've got a counselling mention here. Let's go. And look, you know, Ned can go to counselling if he wants. He can sit in a group therapy session where they all talk to each other about their feelings, and it's all wonderful. But at the end of the day, Ned, it's not going to change the fact that you don't need counselling to understand this situation or what you did in this situation. Nobody needs therapy or counselling to understand what they did in this situation in particular. Like, am I the only one that thinks this here? Am I the only one that thinks that when it comes to cheating in this context in particular, there was no horrible horrible thing going on behind, doors that made him, have to try and escape the relationship. He was in a happy marriage. He had kids. He was working with his co-workers in an amazing environment, and he destroyed that by simply cheating. There's no psychological warfare going on here. There's no deeper understanding that I need to have that a man cheated on his wife and betrayed her trust completely. There's no deeper context here. It's actually a very simple thing to understand, but again, it comes down to what I was talking about previously with this man desperately trying to recontextualize things into it being some deeper psychological thing. But the reality is most adults out there and most people in general deal with a lot of mental struggles. We all go through strife. A lot of people do have mental health, illnesses, but that doesn't justify cheating. I, have a mental illness. I know a lot of people that have a mental illness, but that doesn't mean if we were to cheat on our wives that it would be a good thing, and it doesn't mean it's an excuse. And it also doesn't mean that I need to go to counseling to understand these things. It's obvious what's happened here. It's very simple. And again, I think what makes it worse is, why has this taken 2 years to say to us, Ned? Why did it take you 2 years or 3 years to come back and say, hey guys, I'm really sorry and I've been getting therapy? And why did it take at the same time of you coming back with a new show, a new YouTube channel, and all of these new products? Why did it coincidentally happen when you wanted to relaunch your social media career? To me, it seems very disingenuous. It seems that you don't actually care, and it more just seems that you want to sell products to your audience. So excuse me if I don't believe this whole cheating malarkey. I don't say malarkey usually.
This involved a lot of facing rationalizations, denials, minimalizations.
I mean, it's clear nothing has changed because you're still minimalizing things right now in this very video.
Minimalizations, all of these mental clouds that help you continue behavior that is hurtful, and you still do it anyways. So it let me face the truth and acknowledge in no uncertain terms that I cheated on my wife with an employee of my business, and it caused her immense pain and shattered our marriage, and also caused a lot of pain to a lot of other people. Those were my selfish actions and my choices.
I mean, hey, fair enough. It only took him 4 years to get on camera and say it by himself. I mean, congrats, I guess. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, congratulations, mate. I'm glad you're acknowledging this, and honestly, that should be that. Let's end the video right now, yeah, Ned? I mean, it might have took you blaming people on TikTok and clips being taken out of context and you using your wife as a shield whilst also using counseling as a shield, but I'm glad we finally got to this position where, we're gonna end the video right now. Right? Oh, God. We're a third way through. We've got 6 more minutes to go. Please end this.
From there, I sought to understand the patterns of behavior that led to this. I did work with internal family systems and parts work, started in the 12-step program, and continued to understand why I had done what I did, what the underlying issues were, and what it was that I was running from when I chose to do that selfish and self-destructive behavior.
The wording here is so unbelievably key. It comes into that whole thing that I mentioned earlier with Ned being perfect when it comes to using PR. Why I did what I did. Self-destructive. He's trying to be unbearably relatable to his audience, and the reason he's doing that is because Ned Fulmer most likely has a younger audience who are desperate to relate to their content creators. And a lot of younger people, not just kids, but teenagers and young adults too, go through phases of self-destruction. They make their life worse for them via their own actions. Not necessarily by cheating on their wife, but by doing regular things that younger people get up to. And by Ned saying what he did was self-destruction, and, him trying to learn from what he did, he's trying to again recontextualize things. He's trying to make things seem far more psychological than they actually are, when again, the reality reality is very simple. This man cheated on his wife. And despite his claims of wanting to take accountability and learn from this situation, I actually see the complete opposite in this situation. I see a man who is struggling to take any real forms of accountability, and a man who is very trained in PR and knows how to spin bad situations into good ones. And in regards to therapy, I'm genuinely quite confused at what he could even say to a therapist in this situation. Hi, Mr. Therapist. I cheated on my wife. Why did I do this? I don't know. Probably because you're an absolute So, mate, there's no deep explanation for this, son. There's no deep explanation for you cheating on your wife. The reality is, mate, is you're selfish. You are, and you need to accept that. And you can work on that, and you can change that, maybe, but you keep on recontextualizing the situation. You keep on trying to make it seem like this positive thing, and you keep on gaslighting us pretty much in this situation. You blame the TikTok audience, you've blamed TikTok creators, you've used your wife as a shield, and it very much just seems that you aren't willing to take accountability. And look, I'm not the accountability police. I think Ned's got the right to post his YouTube videos. They are very funny to look at, but I think he's got the right. But at the same time, it's frustrating to see someone claim accountability when it's very obvious that they're actually not doing that, and it only continues.
Self-destructive behavior.
Was that like a bad attempt at... Was he trying to cry there? Netty boy, Netty boy, you're going to have to try a bit harder than that, mate. I've seen 2018 Laura Lee. We OGs have seen real tears, and you need to try a little bit harder, son.
In terms of my relationship with Ariel, it started as a therapeutic separation.
I'm sorry to keep on pause it, but a therapeutic separation... It's one of the funniest lines I think I've ever heard. By therapeutic separation, this man means I cheated on my wife, she broke up with me, I lost my entire career, and now I'm groveling to you to accept me and take me back as one of the disgraced Try Guys members. It's embarrassing, and he keeps on harping on this line of therapeutic throughout this response, and it's something that he's done in his previous podcast that we went through on my last video. It's again one of these amazing PR words that he loves to use to again try and feel relatable to his audience so they accept what's going on here as a completely normal and fine thing.
And then from there I prepared a disclosure document that answered all of her questions and volunteered for a lie detector test to then, in a therapeutic setting, convey that information to her so that we could build something new on the same page of knowing exactly everything that happened. And this is a well-known therapeutic technique for people trying to recover from betrayal trauma.
Therapeutic. I'm learning empathy. I'm learning how to be a grateful person. I've got gratitude now, guys. My God, man, how many buzzwords are you going to use? Did you go down to a PR office that morning and said, can you give me every single word in the book to use in my YouTube response video, please? Gratitude. We'll get to the empathy stuff comes later on, by the way. Anything else? Can we blame things out of context? Yeah, I think we can do that. What else can we do? Use your wife that you cheated on as a shield. Mention the counselling, the group therapy to show that you are going through this with other individuals too who can relate to you. They're probably all slime balls too, but you know, Ned, you're paying us good money. You shove that all into a 9-minute response video, son, and I think you'll be good. So, Ned, I don't think that's going to happen, mate. I don't think anyone's going to accept this. I think you are going to be a laughingstock even further, but alas, I mean, it is pretty funny to hear. Now, obviously, I should say for legal reasons, I don't have any evidence that Ned Fulmer went down to a PR agency and asked for advice or paid people for that. That's obviously all just a joke, but at the end of the day, it's kind of hard to see this and not really think that, because this response is almost, AI generated. I feel like I'm listening to ChatGPT. It's like Ned's gone into ChatGPT and said, hey ChatGPT, can you generate a response to make the audience of the world feel bad for me and to forgive me for cheating on my wife? And honestly, Ned, I don't even think ChatGPT is going to help you in this situation. I really don't. But, I'm glad he's saying it for what it is at the end in there. He admits that yes, he has traumatized his wife and honestly probably his friends too.
Trying to recover from betrayal trauma.
But again, that's quite interesting that he mentions that here because, well, why are you bringing up your wife's trauma again? Why are you using your wife's trauma as a shield to come back onto social media and offer all of your new funky fun products to your audience. Well, I say to your audience, you don't have an audience. You've got an audience of people that are praying for your downfall, but why are you offering that to those individuals as a form of defense? I actually think it's pretty sick that this man acknowledges that, wow, he traumatized his wife by cheating on her, and he still uses it as a shield. He still makes videos talking about it and bringing things up. I think it's a bit weird that he's made an entire podcast about these types of topics, to be honest with you. I think it is a bit weird that he uses that trauma as a thing to brag about in saying that he's the top 6 worst moment of 2022 in some weird newspaper. I think it's weird that he uses all of these things to kind of advertise his new brand, because he's acknowledging that all of those things traumatized his wife, and yet he still does all of this. It's so unbelievably sick and twisted, and even hearing him acknowledging it just makes this even worse. It's like he's intent on exposing himself by trying to desperately seem relatable. It's like if he has worked with a PR team, they are the worst PR team on planet Earth, but it's like they think that this is going to work. This is something from like 2014 YouTube that maybe would have convinced an audience back then, but we've seen this shtick millions of times at this point, and it's not going to work. It's actually only going to make you look a million times worse. Acknowledging your wife's trauma and then using it as a shield, that is embarrassing behavior. But it doesn't end there, because Ned, he's got to continue. He's got to continue and let us know all about betrayal trauma.
And speaking of betrayal trauma, that is a phrase that I learned. The idea of betrayal trauma and integrity abuse, and these ways that are, systems and language for understanding the pain and why keeping secrets like that, especially of a nature, can be so damaging to your partnership. So those were things that I learned about and continue to practice on a daily basis when it comes to saying what I mean and doing what I say, and when I make a mistake, immediately correcting it to stay keep my sense of integrity intact.
I'm sorry, he's doing it once again. The thing that I spoke about that he did in this podcast, of where he says, oh, I now do this thing that every other normal human being does because I've cheated on my wife and I've learned and I've become a better person. It's absolutely insane what he is doing here. And also, he's basically stating here that he didn't understand that cheating on your wife and hiding the fact that you're cheating is a bad thing before, but now he knows because he's been speaking to a counselor. Again, this doesn't help your case. This only makes me think you're even more insane than I originally thought. To not know that these are bad things would be absolutely wild. And the fact is, Ned does know that these things are bad, because by him hiding these things, obviously he knows that they're bad. Because if you're hiding something, it indicates that you have a moral problem in your brain about these things. You know, if that was to get out there in the world, of course it would ruin your career. So yes, stop lying to us, Ned. We know what you're doing here. Again, you're trying to look relatable. You're trying to recontextualize the situation into something positive, but it's not positive, and you're just lying to us. But it gets even better when after this he starts to tell us, oh guys, by the way, I've started to practice empathy. Yes, the 38-year-old man has discovered empathy.
Additionally, I practice empathy and listening and boundaries with Ariel and others, which, is sort of part of what was damaged about my brain.
Oh, congratulations, son. Congratulations. You're doing the thing that, well, every other human being does. And he claims that this is... Is it okay to laugh about this? I don't know if he's got brain scans, but he basically states... Sorry. I've watched this podcast before, obviously, as I've said. But I've just kind of deeped what he said. He said that he cheated on his wife because he had brain damage. What the is wrong with this bloke? You cheated on your wife because your brain is damaged. I'm sorry. I have seen, as I said, Laura Lee, Logan Paul, Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, James, every influencer I've seen apologize. But I've never heard I cheated on my wife because I had brain damage. It's special. It's special level. It's special grade, man. It's special grade YouTube apology. It's not even an apology. It's an excuse. That's the worst part. It's a bloody excuse. It's kind of beautiful. It's kind of beautiful. I've never seen this. I've done. That's the best part about this job, because every time something crazy happens, I'm like, wow. Like when Colleen Ballinger picked up that ukulele, I thought to myself, this can't be topped. This can't, and I don't know if this tops it. You know, ukulele in response to player allegations is crazy, but I think it's up there. I think this is like top 5 excuses I've seen of I have brain damage and that caused me to go see someone else multiple times, to go meet up in clubs and do those things publicly in front of people. It's kind of beautiful. There's a part of me that wants to be like, I respect this. I respect the fact that you can just chat so much nonsense to a camera and expect me to believe it. I mean, maybe he does have brain damage, but it's clear that it isn't being recovered. It's clear that things aren't being fixed. It's clear that it's actually getting worse. But yeah, sorry about my rant, but I'm just shocked what I've just witnessed. This bloke's 38 years old, and he's saying things like this. It is stunning. It is stunning. I love this. I love it. This is truly a god-awful response, but it only continues.
Ariel prepared an impact letter that described all of the pain that she felt, and I was able to hear that and take it in and sit with it to really understand all of the ways that my betrayal had affected her and what it meant through her point of view. So this was a long process that it took, approximately 2 years, and continues work even to this day at the 3-year mark, even though we decided to separate officially 2 years in.
It kind of feels like I'm sat down with a 12-year-old student being told off by their teacher, where they're trying to think of every single excuse in the book that might be able to absolve them from the fact they've done something wrong. Or when you're sat down with your parents when you're younger, they're telling you off for something you know that you've done wrong, but you're thinking of all the excuses possible, all the buzzwords possible. I'm getting that vibe right here. Ned is coming off like a teenage boy here with these types of things that he's saying. It's buzzwords, buzz phrases, and desperate hope that you're going to forgive him. It's so unbelievably disingenuous in my opinion. It's so PR trained, and it's very much, in my opinion, algorithmic. It feels like I'm listening to a robot give off a robot ChatGPT algorithmic response. It's like he's gone into ChatGPT and he said, hey, put all the things in there that might get me exonerated from this whole situation. And it's just not working because we're not stupid. I mean, we are. You're stupid. I'm not. But you're silly. You're a silly goose. That was mean. I'm also stupid. I'm sorry. We're silly people, but we're not going to look past absolute bollocks like this.
It's something that I'm really proud of. That's really changed my life, and I understand that if a viewer is watching this for the first time or just sees this 15-second clip on TikTok, you don't understand everything that has led us to this point.
Oh, it's 3 bingos in a row, baby. It's 3 in a row. Blames the viewers, says we don't understand, and basically, in my opinion, says things that were taken out of context via the 15-second TikTok. And yeah, you can criticize me all you want, but I am bloody good at bingo. I hope you've been following too, because this has been a good game so far. Now, I don't believe that this man has grown or changed at all, personally. It more feels like, again, he's just desperate to get his audience back. But I'm sorry, I've looked at the comment section on this video, and it's very obvious that isn't going to happen anytime soon. But again, with this whole argument surrounding the 15-second clips on TikTok that he keeps on bringing up, I don't actually really think a clip being 15 seconds long really changes much, because this guy already looks terrible. How much worse can he actually look? Well, he actually goes into this clip and kind of gives his thoughts even further.
One clip of me talking about society, which obviously was not the best response to that situation. You are welcome to do that. I know that people have a choice when it comes to what they watch and what they consume. And if people don't want to continue engaging with me on the internet, then that's a consequence of my actions and something that I have accepted.
Okay, so I am glad that he's accepting that. But what clip was Ned talking about here? Well, I searched up references to what he was speaking about, and I found a clip of where he was speaking about society on TikTok, and yes, this had around 500,000 likes, so it definitely went viral.
Not only did you having an affair just it shattered our marriage, but it also, like, all of that guilt and shame, you, like, hoisted that on me. Like, you gave that to me. And now I have to carry that around for the rest of my life.
I don't think it's fair that as a society you're put in that position. It's certainly not true. And no, it's not something that I imagined as I was doing that. I think none of it was.
Now, as I said, that clip went viral on TikTok. But interestingly enough, that clip was not 15 seconds long. It was actually 49 seconds long, and I would argue that it does provide a large amount of context. There is clear speaking here, there's no real cutting ups, it's just clearly Ned speaking about things, and honestly not looking very good. But I'm going to give Ned a fair chance here and actually play the entire part of this conversation, because yes, it does cut off halfway through Ned speaking, so I'm going to play now the full context.
I mean, did it ever occur to you that, like, not only did you having an affair just it shattered our marriage, but it also, like, all of that guilt and shame, you, like, hoisted that on me. Like, you gave that to me. And now I have to carry that around for the rest of my life.
I don't think it's fair that as a society you're put in that position. It's certainly not true. And no, it's not something that I imagined as I was doing that. I think none of it was. If you really, like, let it sink in just how much you're hurting your partner and how devastating it is, like, how could you do that? It's still very difficult now, even 3 years later, to see you in pain as you're talking about that, because there's nothing I can do to change the past or to help.
It's kind of weird to think about it now.
Now, after you've seen that clip, do you really think that it changed anything from the original TikTok that I showed you? Because personally, I don't. The response Ned gave was utterly hilarious. It was clear that this man is in a place of absolute delusion or just trying to gaslight and manipulate his own ex-wife on this podcast. It was hilarious what he was saying here, and you can see Ariel knows that this was bollocks. She visibly looks like she hates this guy. This is an angry response to what he is saying. She looks utterly disgusted. And that's because what he was saying in that clip was absolutely insane. He was trying to pin the blame on society, being like, I can't believe society makes you feel this way. Ned, the person that made her feel that way, was her husband that built a life with her, had children with her, and he still cheated on her. The fact you blame everyone other than yourself is absolutely annoying, and you keep on doing it in this podcast, in your response, and in every other podcast that you've uploaded. And it's genuinely quite disgusting. We've heard him acknowledge that he traumatized his wife, and yet he is still using his wife as this shield in this situation. He is still doing that in pretty much every single time he needs to defend himself. I think this response would have been a lot better if he didn't bring up Ariel every single second, but he can't help but do that as he is using Ariel as his crutch or get out of jail free card in this situation. But yeah, getting towards the ending of this video, he starts to move into, well, how he's going to move forward in the future.
Moving forward, I really believe in the mission of the Rock Bottom podcast to foster conversations with empathy and curiosity. It stems from a lot of that group therapy work of seeing how much someone sharing how they're addressing the wreckage in their life that they caused.
Again, he's trying to make this whole thing seem very normal by being like, I've sat around with a bunch of people and we've all talked about our feelings. I mean, if you've sat around with a bunch of people that have cheated on their wives, I mean, I would be surprised. I don't think group therapy is necessarily that thing, and I think group therapy can be a very good thing. But by you trying to transform that good thing into this, oh, yeah, we've all got our issues, it's very manipulative. It's very much him trying to, again, recontextualize things, make this all seem very normal, and make it seem like something you can just move past from at a whim. And don't get me wrong, I think Ned is able to come back from things even if they are absolutely terrible, but the thing is Ned never did that. He ran away from social media for 2 years, came back with his wife using her as a shield and being like, take my new products, here's my new show, and bragging about traumatizing his wife in the description. What do you expect from us? It's obvious to us that you haven't changed and you're just desperate to have your social media career back, and that's not going to happen.
And how they're overcoming a challenge can really be a catalyst for healing. So if it's affected you so far, I'm grateful for that. And if you are wondering what the show is about, I encourage you to check it out. And so that will be on the Rock Bottom channel, and on this channel it'll be more entertainment forward, still under the values of curiosity and empathy.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really want to be taught empathy by the guy that has only actually learned how to have empathy recently. I really am not actually that comfortable with that, to be honest with you. Ned, you told us in this same response that you've only recently started practicing empathy, and in a previous podcast, gratitude. So honestly, I don't think you're the guy to be doing this. And that was a big criticism that I had in my previous video. I said that Ned Fulmer is not the guy to host the show that he's running. I think the concept is interesting, but Ned is not the guy. Yet he continues to go on about this and let us know that yes, he's going to run a show about gratitude and empathy and curiosity.
I know people are saying that it's similar to some of the stuff I did before with BuzzFeed and Try Guys, and that's true. It's the DNA of stuff that I love making, mixing education with entertainment, and developing new show concepts that I'm really excited, but it's not going to be too drastically different than the type of work I did before, because that's just who I am and the type of stuff that I like to make. And I sincerely hope that you are connecting with it and resonating with it. And if not, that's okay too. Like I said, it's a consequence of my actions. So that's the type of community that I'm building here.
Ned, let's be real, mate. You are not building a community of it. You're not doing that, mate. I've seen the views, son, and I know that's not what you're doing here. But, I am actually going to take that as him, trying to get people to subscribe. I know he technically didn't say it, but I'm going to put it on the bingo list anyway, because that's what he was kind of getting at, in my opinion. Allow me to have it. I need the full scorecard. But yes... Finally, we're at the ending of this response. And the sheer level of manipulation and cowardice from it was truly unbelievable. And the interesting thing is we have seen celebrities and influencers come back from cheating in the past. It's not a good thing, but we have seen it. But what that takes isn't being relatable or trying to manipulate their audience with PR. No, it comes from actually growing and changing in the content. If Ned just came back and, did the first episode and that was that, there was no big show, it was one, regular podcast with his wife, I would say, fair enough. I'd still be critical, but I'd say, fair enough. And then he goes on and does his YouTube channel, he does his YouTube videos. But he's not doing that. He's just coming with products and wanting us to consume them. And again, it all came from the fact that this man ran away for 3 years as well. I think that's always going to be a major problem. You can't be silent for 3 years after, as you said, traumatizing your wife and then be like, here's my new product. It's a major problem. If in 2022 you did this podcast, I probably would have accepted it and said, all right, maybe we can just, move on now, and he can just continue to try and become a better person. But the reality is you've done it all in the space of like a week, a month. You've been like, I'm back now, I'm different, I'm better, and you need to believe me, and here are the million reasons why. And it's very, very difficult to believe. And the main reason for that is because every single time you try to show us that you've grown and changed, it's by you saying, oh, I'm practicing empathy now, I'm practicing gratitude now. It's like, why were you not doing all of these basic human functions previously before you cheated on your wife? It's obvious that you're just manipulating everyone, and I don't think it's getting past anyone. And yeah, to kind of conclude my opinion on this response, I don't think this is going to be resurrecting Ned Fulmer's career anytime soon, and that mainly comes from, well, the comments. Because yes, the reviews are in. Brother, genuinely just get a normal job. This is so embarrassing. I practice listening and empathy, CEO of bare minimum. Reading the comments like a morning paper. And yes, there are plenty of more, I can't speak English, plenty more comments out there just like that. There is not a single positive one that I can see, and overall, this response was a complete failure. But honestly, it's up there for one of the worst responses possible in the best way. The fact that he said that brain damage is basically the reason he did all the things that he did is genuinely beautiful. But with that, I'll end the video there. Please let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to know what you guys think about this situation. And if you want to know more about his podcast and rebrand, go watch my previous video, which will be up next. Thank you very much for coming along. Please like this video, please subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, everyone. Bye-bye.